Welcome to week 3. This week our focus is lesson planning. By the end of week 3, you will have been provided the opportunity to further your understanding of the Ohio Learning Standards in your appropriate certification area, to further develop an understanding of academic language, and to begin to create an interdisciplinary lesson plan, including the grade level, the subjects, the standards, the measurable learning outcomes, academic language and language demand, technology rationale, and the context for learning sections. Now let's look at the assignments for this week. There is a video on academic language. It's only 10 minutes and 33 seconds in length, and it clearly defines academic language. This video also talks about how academic language and language demand are related. You can't talk about one without the other. The video defines language demand as the way that academic language is used by the students to participate in the learning tasks through reading, writing, listening, and/or speaking to demonstrate their understanding. There's 4 categories of language demand: vocabulary, functions, syntax, and discourse. All 4 of these categories under language demand are explained in this video. So you may want to take notes as you're viewing this video. That's going to help you when you go to complete your plan. Next, you're going to go to the ODE website and explore the Ohio Learning Standards in your certification area. Let's see if this link is going to work. Awesome. Here are the standards by grade level, and here are the standards by content area. Please reread Chapter 3, pages 39 through 78, and Chapter 5, Lesson Planning and Protocols, pages 99 through 148. Homework Assignment 3.1 is your discussion forum. What is academic language? Why is it important to educators? Which relates back to week 2's forum about academic language. And homework assignment 3.2 is to begin to create that interdisciplinary lesson plan, which we're going to talk about at length in a moment. Here is the discussion forum rubric for you to refer to when writing your posts. Here is another link to the State of Ohio Learning Standards. Just want to make sure that everything's working. The video on academic language, which you've already viewed, but here it is again. And I'm not sure why this video is here and I couldn't remove it, so I'm sorry. Next is a video on writing measurable learning outcomes. This is a short video. It's only 4 minutes and 32 seconds long, and it's packed full of information about how to write a measurable learning objective, which is what you want the students to be able to do at the end of the lesson. This video states how teaching strategies used in lessons, your learning activities, assignments, and assessments are all tied to the measurable learning objective. So really, when you begin your lesson plan with a measurable learning objective, you are beginning with the end in mind. A measurable learning objective needs to be specific and measurable. The video goes on to tell you that in order to be specific and measurable, it must follow the condition, actor, behavior, degree format. When creating the behavior, you need to think about Bloom's taxonomy verbs. For example, compare and contrast, analyze, identify, list, solve. Things that you can measure. It's really difficult to measure, understand. Page 108 in Chapter 5 also discusses behavioral objectives. So if you have questions about that, please ask me before you submit your partial lesson plan. Next is the lesson plan template and rubric, which is here. Highlighted in red is the point value for each section. This is the template that you will use for your lesson plan. Next is the example of an interdisciplinary lesson plan. So let's take a look. Each week you are only completing part of the plan. This week you're completing the grade level, which if you are being certified in K through 3, if that's your license, you must choose grade 3 to do this lesson plan. You're having 2 subject areas. This example has reading, and then it chooses another content area. It chooses science. Your essential understanding is, what is the focus of the lesson? That's all it is. It just answers that question. What is the central idea the student will learn from the lesson? Next, you're completing the standards. So your first subject area, you're going to have a standard listed and typed out. And your second content area, you're going to have it listed and typed out. Next area, measurable learning outcomes. You're going to have one for your first subject and your second subject. And remember that this measurable learning outcome is the end where you want the students to end after the lesson. Once you want them to be able to do once you have taught the lesson. The academic language is the language that's used in the classroom or book or lesson that the students are expected to learn and be able to use. You have to list the academic language, you have to define it, and then you also need to identify the source of each term. Over here in the left margin of this template, it tells you that. What academic terms will the student need to know in this lesson? What terms, that's a repeat, what terms will the student learn in this lesson? And define and identify the source of each term. The next section is the language demand. Which talks about the academic language used by the students and how they're going to use it. And remember, there's 4 categories: vocabulary, functions, syntax, and discourse. And then the second part is how you will incorporate the academic language terms within your lesson. So the first part is how the students will use it. The second part is how you will incorporate it. The technology rationale, either yes, you're using it and why, or no, you're not and why. The next section, for some reason, mine moved and I can't get it back, is the context for learning section. This is the area where you're going to show differentiation for this plan. You need to think about the way that the learners in your class learn things. They all require different strategies or supports, accommodations. For example, how are you going to teach your English language learners this lesson? What are you going to do for them that is different? What about your at-risk or lower performing students? What are you going to do for them? How about your gifted students? How are you going to challenge them with this lesson? What about students with IEPs? What are you going to do with them? Because you have to follow their IEPs or their 504 plans. So you have to identify the learning needs represented in your classroom and list the supports, accommodations, modifications, and or pertinent IEP goals. If you have questions about this, please ask before submitting your partial lesson plan. And I know everybody is at different points in writing lesson plans. Some of you may have a lot of experience. Some of you may have never written a lesson plan before. That's okay. But please ask me questions. I don't want you to do it and do it wrong. I can't help you if you don't ask. And I want you all to be successful. Your assignments this week are your discussion forum. Please remember that your initial post is 250 to 500 words, and it's posted by 11:59 p.m. on Wednesday. And you are to respond to 2 peers by Saturday. Homework 3-2 is your partial lesson plan that is due Saturday. I am here to help you. Thank you.